I actually have a funny story with this book. I read it as a kid, and in middle school we were assigned book reports. Now, the dumbest idiots in my English class were given this book to review, and on the day they were supposed to present, it was obvious that they hadn't bothered to read it. They bullshitted their way through it, and at one point they were going on about how trout and eels' weird deformities made no sense to them. So, little old me, back when I was pretending to be a girl, raised my hand and said, "Are you sure their mother wasn't a mermaid?" Of course, the entire class erupts into laughter, including the two idiots that were presenting. So, the teacher waits until everyone dies down and turns to the two dipshits, saying, "Yeah, it's obvious you didn't read the material, and I think all of you owe her," she points to me, "an apology." So yeah, that was pretty cool. Now, let's get on to the book. Indigo was written by Alice Hoffman. If she sounds familiar to anyone watching, that's because she was also responsible for Aquamarine, another mermaid tale that managed to get popular and even spawn a movie. Indigo is about Martha, a young girl who's friends with a particular set of boys, Trevor and Eli, aka Trout and Eel. The story tells of the three of them, as kids, running away from home to find the ocean because they feel like the place they live in doesn't understand them. There are a lot of really odd things about trout and eel. For instance, they have webbed fingers, they like to eat a lot of fish, and they put salt in their drinking water. The book isn't very subtle with the other fish metaphors either. Martha's last name, for instance, is Glimmer, and Trout and Eel's last name is McGill. Despite that, I really liked this book. You learn that Martha recently lost her mother, and her father is so heartbroken that he lets another woman, a neighbor, basically take over the family. It's also obvious that this neighbor, Hildy, doesn't like Martha much, so on top of losing her mother and her father being despondent to her well-being, Martha has to put up with this woman who basically comes into the home and takes over like she belongs there. Trout and Eel have a yearning to see the ocean, but are kept in Oak Grove by their paranoid but well-meaning parents. The kids in the book are relatable to the demographic Alice Hoffman was aiming for. Who doesn't at 13 feel alone and feel like no one understands them? The grief that Martha feels at the loss of her mother is also very real and very palpable as you read. I also liked how, when the three of them decide to run away, Martha only packs enough food for one night, even though it's going to take like 2 weeks for them to get to their destination. It just goes to show how young children often don't think when acting out of desperation. In the end, you learn later on that Trout and Eel's adopted parents adopted them after their mother, a mermaid, was killed at sea. She survived just long enough to see to it that her sons were safe before succumbing to her injuries. Hildy, the bitch that's trying to weasel in on Martha's dad, leaves town after a really severe storm that ends up flooding all of Oak Grove. And why does it flood? Well, Trout and Eel's dad and his construction company built a dam because they were so afraid of flooding that they wanted to keep the water out, but that ends up biting them in the ass. However, Trout and Eel end up destroying the dam, saving everyone from the floodwaters. Martha and her dad make up, and then eventually the boys move away with their parents, heading to a place closer to the ocean. The only complaint I have about Indigo is it's too short. If it had been maybe 20 pages longer, maybe have Martha and her father's relationship fleshed out more, I would have liked it better. As it stands, everything we learn about the relationship is told in the narration, and they just hug and make up at the end without any lead-up. Everything feels very undercooked because of the short length. Also, as I said, the fish metaphors and the whole "our mom's a mermaid" thing was pretty obvious, and I think it would have fared better if there was more mystery involved. Regardless, I'm going to give Indigo a B+ with a high recommendation. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, maybe you should like, comment, subscribe. If not, feel free to watch any of my other videos. I have one right up here for you in case you're interested. Also, why not stop by my Facebook page? I like to post things about videos, books that I'm reading, and stories. I also like to post polls, get different opinions from viewers about what books I should read, and who knows, maybe I'll find a book that I actually really like. Either way, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.